time to grow with the SEO Queen. Receive the perfect leads like never before. No traffic is gonna explode. It's time to grow.
This is the interview of the year.
Stop it.
I've been trying to get you on my show for the longest. I know it's been so busy. It's been so crazy.
Nah, this is what's up. I'm honored to be here. How you feeling today?
You know what? I'm feeling blessed, and I'm like so excited about just us collaborating. And I know it's kind of getting to a slow start, but let me tell you, we're about to light a match, and it's about to be crazy. Because I'm on my team's head daily. Everybody got to step it up.
Bamboo trees grow a lot further down where no one can see before you ever see it grow above. So that's how I look at this partnership, because it's a lot that we've been laying the groundwork for, like you said, to be able to do other stuff in the future. So
exactly. So I'm just super excited because, I don't know anybody who's done what you've done. I don't know one person. I mean, I literally can't. I mean, I can go down the line. Neil Patel hasn't done it. Larry Kim hasn't done it. Who else is a social media? Billie Jean didn't do it.
Right. He's an awesome.
Marquell Russell hasn't done it.
Now you're describing my plight, because I learned from a lot of these different people, and I've learned from a lot of these different people, and like you said, nobody else has a model where I could be like, oh, they did it like this too. Maybe I could do some of these things with this group. So it's cool though, because it's like a real world learning experience for me.
Let me back up. I want to introduce you right for the listeners. So this is Zhe Scott, the SEO Queen. You're listening to the SEO Queen Tech Show. And this is where we, this show is for entrepreneurs who want to maximize their impact by getting more clients and revenue without paying for advertising. I am an organic digital marketer. And I say that disclaimer because it's very important to set the stage for this conversation. I'm speaking with Calvin Martyr, who is the CEO and founder of the Blackout Coalition, which is an economic consequence movement looking to decrease the wealth gap between Black and white people, and just deal with the racism that we as Black people deal with on a daily basis. We are on the Bashani Radio, talking about everything from New York City, and Bashani Radio is a Black-owned podcast network. So we're gonna keep it real, keep it 100. And so Calvin, I wanted him to come on the show because he is one of my mentors. And since I've been a part of his mastermind, I have actually gotten a lot, way more visibility for my music and my marketing, and gotten a lot of inquiries through that membership. So for anybody else who says they're frustrated or it's not working, you're not doing it right. Because I got leads in my funnel.
Right.
I got leads in my funnel. So I think, if you are a Black entrepreneur, and if you are not in the Blackout Coalition Facebook group, you're missing out on a lot. This is a group of movers and shakers. And, I would be remiss if I didn't also say that Calvin not only is my mentor, but he's also a hip hop artist who's open for Lecrae at the Super Bowl, and his music is fire. Look him up on Amazon, iTunes, Tidal. Calvin is a beast. So I just want people to understand who it is on my podcast.
New album about to drop soon too. You know
what
I'm saying?
Man, you got another album. Got a book.
Yeah, so the live show. So the live show.
So the live show is going to be an album now.
Absolutely, yeah. I had all the track outs and everything from that project, and so I sent them off to my guy in Atlanta, and he's almost done mixing and mastering that project. Yep.
Oh, well, that's excellent. Congratulations. You're just making some major moves. Major moves. So, for everybody who's listening, I just want you to, before we go into it, one other thing. Calvin is actually going to be speaking at the Reach More Clients Power Conference. And if you get a VIP ticket, you can choose to have a one-on-one coaching session with Calvin. So I would be remiss if I did not mention that. You can go to seoqueen.com/conference and purchase your VIP tickets now. And so, Calvin, go ahead. You got the floor.
Man, I don't even know who is that guy? You just described somebody else. Nah, it's an honor. It's a privilege. And like you said, over the years, I've been blessed to use my talents in different ways, whether it be music, whatever. But now more than ever, like this work that we've been doing with the Blackout Coalition and just trying to bring unity back to our community. I think a lot of people hear a message like Blackout or Blackout Days or Blackout Coalition, and they think that it's, necessarily all about just being separate or only supporting Black people. But this is actually more a message about humanity healing, because if one group of people in the global family are suffering, then as a whole, we're not okay. And when you just simply look in every country, all around the world, no matter if you look in Canada, in America, Mexico, people don't know there is an Afro-Mexican, Afro-Latina, community that faces some of the same things. Central America, South America, especially where the majority of slaves in the transatlantic slave trade went. They are in South America, Australia,
in Brazil.
Yep. Like Australia, look at the indigenous population there. In Great Britain, like it was all in the news, the riots and things of that nature. Then, of course, on the very continent itself of Africa, we know the history, of colonialism and apartheid and so many different things. So it's like it's a message that needs to be said that, as a people, clearly nobody's going to do it for us. So we do have, and it's happening. Like it's beautiful to see the age of technology and how the Blackout Coalition, like Martin Luther King Jr. did not have the ability to just hop on a live video real quick and, get his message out and be able to galvanize the people. Like, so it's a both end where we're not as united as we were back then. And there's a few factors of that. One of those being, like, I was reading his book and he said how the thing that allowed them to organize was the pastors and the churches. So that was where the majority of the Black community was going to church faithfully. So the ministers were able to get up and say, hey, boycott this product, blah, 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 blah. Or that also the churches were able to be the places where everyone was able to meet and take vote on what they wanted to do collectively as a people, etc. Now we're no longer there. However, on the flip side, we do have the technological ability to get the word out, and now think about COVID-19 and churches are closed. People can't congregate. It's even harder than ever to do it the old way. And so all I did was, obviously, like you said, I have a history of, I understand, probably 13 years now, I've been doing music since 2008. And so just my journey from then to now in a lot of different contexts, from touring all over the country. Like you said, I performed at the Super Bowl, opened up for Lecrae in 2017. But, selling merch, selling different types of products, and in general, having to, learn how to connect with people to where they like you as a personality. And then, because you're not always dropping the project. That's the thing. And it would be weird if every video, all you ever did was just only promote. Yeah, go get my CD, go get, like, people would be off. They would be thrown off by that. But if you're constantly someone that they just get great value from, whether you motivate them, inspire them, you educate them, expose them to new things they've never seen. Maybe you're somebody who likes to travel and you're always posting, and then you come out with a product that is around the things that they're familiar with you about, they're going to get it. You know what I'm saying? Or even if it's not about what you're talking about. Just the simple fact that they like you, they follow you every day on a daily basis, and they feel like they're able to connect with you in real time. That's the thing about, like, live video. It's just, there's nothing else. It's actually like, as social media continues to make different changes and everything, it's the only great equalizer on all the platforms. Even on IG, I've been seeing the algorithm has changed a lot. And I'm noticing a lot of the different influencers that I follow just to peep game, they're heavily going towards the live videos, going live every day. You know what I'm saying? Because of the algorithm.
Right.
Just reels and, but Facebook, same thing. Facebook is recognizing the power of this. Watch. And you probably know this because you keep up with industry things too, but April 16th, they're removing watch parties from Facebook. Oh, really? Why is that? Because the power of live video in a watch party actually re-engages videos like it's a whole new live. And so that they, knowing that 90% of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the 90% of their revenue is from advertising. So they're like, how can we get more money? Well, let's take this away, this organic way. The organic is the most dangerous threat to the system. Let's take this ability away for them to not have to keep paying us to reach people. Or they got this free ability to reheat their video for free. Watch party. Let's take that away. But it's not all bad.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not all bad. Like, and this is why it's so awesome about marketing. It's a constantly evolving thing. So you have to stay on your toes. You have to keep studying, reading articles, following things, and more important than all of that, testing yourself, different strategies, and figuring out what works, what does not, and and that sometimes
that's another gem you just dropped. Okay, keep on going.
Testing different strategies, figuring out what works, what does not. You know what I'm saying? Not everything will work. And I think
that's true.
When it comes to marketing, and this is something I've been here, so I've learned this through experience, that especially for creatives, when we have a vision and we plan out things of how we're going to promote something, and then we start launching it, and then it's like, we may not be getting no traction. We may not be getting any likes, anything. And because we thought this whole thing out, a lot of people don't have the ability to kind of pivot, and maybe just not even pivot, maybe just completely abandon a strategy they thought would work completely, and try something different, until they find
so
work.
So I have a question for you. How do you know the difference between a strategy not working and, needing to give it enough time to get the traction? How do you make that distinction?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think in perspective, it is different for everybody. I think first you have to come from, if you're just starting out, let's just go from there, and you don't have any following really or anything, then I think no matter what the strategy that you roll out, you got to stick with it regardless. You know what I mean? Just to have consistency with you getting your digital footprint. Because if you try something and then you stop that and then try another one, you're always going to be stuck in that stop-start cycle. I think just taking it from face value, just working with clients, and one of the things I've learned just about the internet, and I know you can speak to this too from your vast knowledge of SEO and whatnot, but in general, it's going to take about 90 to 120 days really to assess. And a lot of times in the past, when I've worked with clients, even when I was in the corporate world or just one-on-one working with clients with my business, that would be the realistic expectation that I would give people. Like, look, we're going to give this 90 to 120 days. And then we assess at that point. We look at, okay, what is our CTR? Like, are people actually clicking through when we do,
Wait. You just dropped another nugget. What does CTR mean?
CTR.
For the listeners who are listening who do not know.
Yeah, CTR is click-through rate. So, and just to be realistic with y'all, don't think that you should have 90% click-through. Like, if you have 90% click-through, you are eating. You know what I mean? In general, people,
you eating really, like a crazy person.
Like you eating, you are obese with it.
Like, right, that part.
Usually people are seeing, 5. If you see 10% click-through rate conversion, you are eating. Right. That's right. To put it in perspective. If you
5 to 10 is crushing it.
Crushing. So what that means is how the click-through rate is, okay, 1,000 people watched my video, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or now, but how many of that 1,000 clicked the link? So in this percentage, if we take that 1,000, we don't need 900 to feel like we're successful. That's not realistic. That's 90, that would be the 90%. No, we're saying, shoot, man, if 50 of those 1,000 that put eyes on that ad clicked, that is success. That's success. And now out of that 50, right? How many of that 50 then, when they do click that link, you need to make sure when they click that link that whatever action you ultimately want them to be able to take, they can take that action in less than 3 clicks. Let's say the first click is the click. The second, maybe that's a page, they're reading everything. Then maybe they got to click to purchase. And then that's the last click is them actually buying from you, whatever the thing is, right? If that's the goal. Or it may be, if you're just starting out, you're just needing people to click. And then the next page is they're giving you their email and the name. And you're giving them a free ebook or a free whatever. Because more important than having the immediate sale sometimes, this throws a lot of people off, is just actually having a database of individuals to nurture and talk and talk to. You need an email list or
let's talk about nurturing. I think this is a topic that, I don't think enough people understand because, when I joined Martyr's Mastermind, I knew it was a long-term play because it typically, research shows it takes about 12 to 6 times before anybody even knows that your business exists. And then from there, that's crazy. Because people, like, when you think about it,
easy with statistics like that, you can get discouraged really easily because you might be at time number 10 and feel like, oh man, like nobody's paying attention.
But this is the thing. You got to remember that everybody's attention is being tugged on every which way. I mean, you got the kids, you got Bay, you got the job, you got Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, you got Oprah, you got, there's just so many things demanding our attention. So one thing that I want, the listeners to really understand when it comes to marketing, it's about moving the needle. It's about touching people as fast as possible to get them to the conversion point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So how do you nurture your funnel?
So for me, I've tested different ways and actually I'm still testing and learning different ways. I know like through email is definitely a good one. But for me also, my email list in general, and that's another thing, like segmenting your audience has been accumulated over years from different things, right? Like I have some people on my email list that have been following me for years from the music. So for those people, they've seen my evolution from just only doing music to where I, years ago started speaking out more on political things, if you will, and especially speaking specifically about our people needing to unite, etc. I've been talking about that for years, which is crazy. Like, but I was talking about it in a small space. But anyway, as I've built my list and different things over the times, I'm always mindful of that when I'm nurturing. So for me, like if people go to my website right now, and they can, if y'all go right now to martyrsmastermind.com, you can literally, you scroll down on the first page, you just give your name, email, etc., and boom, you'll get access to a free masterclass. So that masterclass actually is my vision board masterclass. Who Z, you taking that class, huh? In the university?
I don't think I've taken it yet. You know what? I think you did a workshop one night on vision boarding and the funnel. So I did a live version.
Yeah. So there you go. So anybody, if anybody's listening right now and you go that course alone, is enough to help shape the direction of your life. I swear by it. Literally 3 years ago, I created the vision board that's still, up on my wall next to my bed right now. And it's what I'm living every day. And so people go and get that class, for instance, right? So now I have, 150 or so people just who signed up for that free masterclass. And then now periodically, I constantly send them emails, just reminding them. And what's interesting is sometimes people just simply forget, because I notice every time I send out a blast email to those individuals, every time 5 or 6 people sign up to actually join the full, Martyrs Mastermind apprenticeship. But here's a gem right here, and this happens in sales. And when we talk about marketing, the whole goal to market is for you to get a sale in some way. Like that. So let's just be clear on that. We are wanting to sell something, but we start not by only focusing on that, but how can we serve? What can you give? Right? What is it that you can give to someone else and enhance their life experience? Right? Like literally, I'm perfectly fine with someone going and signing up for that free masterclass, and they watch that and it changes their whole life, and they don't pay me a dime, right? Because I know me giving them that free value is giving them just a taste. I got more value. I got more value to give. And so when people can see for free what your value is, right? And then you hit them with the follow-up, you're not being overly aggressive, whatever, but you're continually reaching out to them, letting them know you're there, you care, and here's where they can get more of the value they got for free for an affordable price. You know what I'm saying? At some time, back to your example, 6 to 12 times. It may mean January, the first week of January, this person signed up, and maybe I send them an email every couple of weeks, right? For 3 months.
Right.
And then it's not until that third month, that 6th or 7th email that they got, that they finally is like, you know what? I'm gonna sign up.
You know what? It happens
months.
like that. Well, sometimes it's years, because I mean, one of the masterminds I'm in, I heard about that mastermind years ago, and I didn't pull the trigger until the end of last year.
Wow.
So
and what was it in that scenario?
Well, one, I was ready to do the work, and I had the cash flow, because I think the thing that makes a lot of entrepreneurs uncomfortable is the investment piece. But what I have found, the more I invest in myself, that mastermind principle comes into play, and I've gotten so much value out of just being in a mastermind and having a coach. I mean, I've saved so much money. I've made so much money, and I highly, highly, highly recommend Martyr's Mastermind. I do. I think it's fabulous.
Hey, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love. And I don't want y'all to be confused and think that I don't learn from Z as well. So I've learned a ton from her. Even with your follow-up. You know, I signed up for your what was it? I signed up for something on your site, like, ooh, let me see what nuggets I can get, you know. And so I loved how every few days after signing up, I kept getting emails from you, and just the emails alone had value, you know, breaking down certain little nuggets and things like that. So I appreciated that, you know what I'm saying? And I took from that. So I want those who are listening to know the mastermind principle is when two or more people come together in perfect harmony to accomplish a definite purpose. And so even when Z first reached out on LinkedIn and we chopped it up, and you know, I recognized, you know, I think we both did, how we could learn from each other and glean from each other, you know, and that's what I
so I have to tell the listeners that the reason why I reached out to you is because of that mastermind I joined, and they told us to niche down, and my primary demographic that the SEO Queen serves are Black-owned businesses. And I immediately thought of you, and I reached out to you, and that's why I wanted to connect, because you're in this group and I wanted to know how I can get more involved and be more visible. So you see the chain of events. It's like one coach encouraged me to do one thing, and then I connected. And then I remember when Calvin was telling me about his mastermind, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, okay, I'll sign up. So I think you can never underestimate the power of two or more being gathered.
Right. Ooh, say it again.
You cannot underestimate the power of two or more being gathered together. That's the mastermind principle. It's a biblical principle.
Right.
It's a spiritual principle. I think there's so many spiritual truths that, you know, once you wrap your mind around it, it really can elevate your business practices in your business. And so can you tell the audience a little bit about your spiritual journey and how it has impacted you as an entrepreneur, CEO, and a business owner?
Wow, man, goodness gracious. That's the key right there to everything. You know, the book, the whole concept of mastermind principle, you know, Napoleon Hill is who kind of brought that to the international stage, right? And he says in that book, Think and Grow Rich, that thoughts become things, etc. So your mindset is everything, just in life. But I know for me, these last few years, you know, I grew up in church. You know, giving a little background on me, my father's a bishop, and my godfather's a bishop. My uncle's a bishop. And I grew up being in church since I was 2. But I say about 4 years ago, for sure, about 4 or 5 years ago, this journey I noticed, like, I felt like there was more to learn. And so I went on a journey of self-discovery and a spiritual journey of really allowing myself to let go of everything that I felt like I already believe and just start from ground level. And it started really with a question, like, what Bible was Abraham reading? Right. And that was in my spirit. And you realize Abraham, of course, just taking it from the biblical record, but he wasn't reading a Bible. He was having an experience, an ongoing relationship and conversation with God. And so ultimately, I really kind of summed up where I am now in my book, There Is No Darkness, Only Absence of You, right? And it's on Amazon. People can get it get it in print copy or even an ebook. But I discovered that God is in you. And that was something that no one had ever. It changed my perspective of my relationship to God, to know that he literally is inside each and every single one of us, but not just us. His if think about this, omnipresent, right? So how can God be present everywhere? This force, right? But not inside you though. He's in everything else but you. And when you really think about when you talk with God, right? When you pray, you don't have to pray out loud, or there's this inward conversation that happens, and then when you hear the voice back, it sounds like you. God literally is in us. It's a concept that is both mind-boggling, but also it's mind-settling at the same time. To be settled, to know I'm not somehow outside of or disconnected from the source which is sustaining me. I'm actually, just like the ocean is made up of many drops, but the drops are not the ocean. That's how we are in God. Each individual one of us is a drop in the ocean of God. All is within the all, as the ancients had said.
Wow.
That's an ancient esoteric truth. All is within the all. Literally, now I don't know how deep people want to go in there for themselves.
You in a safe space.
Yeah.
Let's go deep. This is a tech show. We go deep.
So in this book, The Kabbalion, there's a book called The Kabbalion. It's not actually attributed to a actual author. It's just the author says the 3 initiates.
You know what? I'm actually about to start a year-long initiates path. It's a spiritual study because I'm the minister of technology for the intersection of mankind. And that is one of our books that we're going to be reading.
Woo! See, look at that. Look at how I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Like how,
right.
Like to mention that. And so anyway, wow. So yeah, in that book, in the Kabbalion, so I won't spoil it. I know you're about to read it, but that is one of the things that jumped out. Like it was deep. It's definitely. I need to read the book again. It was a lot I gleaned, but I know there was so much that I can glean more just by going and studying it again. And it took me a while. I read that book over. I like certain books like that. I'll read and then put it down, digest for a couple months, and then come back to it and kind of work your way through it. And it said that everything that exists, all exists in the mind of the all. And that blew me, like, what? It's in, because everything, if we're made in the image and likeness of God, right, then that means that the same process
we are.
We are made in the image. I'll try to lay it out, but I don't like to disrespect where people are and what they believe. But, being made in the image and likeness of God means that the same way we create things, meaning it starts as an idea, a visual picture. We get it in our brain. Where does that come from? Where is that coming from? But we get this visual picture out of nowhere, seemingly. And then as we focus and put work to the idea, to the thought, it then manifests. When you read the scripture, it says, in the beginning was God. Well, in the beginning,
was the word.
It says, in the beginning, God created. Yeah, you went to John. But
I went to John. Yeah.
You went to John.
Right.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen His glory.
That's manifestation right there. That's manifestation.
You go to Genesis, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Cool. Created, and boom, boom, boom. But he said, and God said, well, this was interesting. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then it says, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. Watch this. And then it says, in the evening, in the morning was the first day. And then it keeps on going like that. And then it says that on the 7th day, he rested from his work. So when he just said, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Was it a magical process where it just came, started moving and shaking? Or did he put work to what he saw and then spoke? Because if there was no even light, did he know what light was in comparison to the darkness that was? He had to have seen this. And we can give multiple examples. Think about Steve Jobs. Great example. This man, there's a recording, or recordings rather, from like 1982. And this man is on the recording talking about a handheld pocket device that's like a personal assistant that you can give it voice commands. He's describing this device I'm talking on right now in 1980.
Yeah, I'm on this device. And what year was that? 1980 what?
1982. This is before
Wow. I was 4.
Come on, the first cell phone came in 89, and that was nowhere near what we have now. So how is it this man, a device that not even the big block version of was in existence, could he have a vision and be able to describe in detail the very device that we talk on right now? That's that thing, that all existing in the mind of the all. That's that thing, that to be able that God could have thought of a thing, speak it, and then put the work. Put the work to bring it to fruition. And then it's interesting, even he had to rest. So as we talk about the mindset of spirituality and things of that nature, it's understanding that we are a God. You are a God, little g. You're not the most high. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not, there's a lot of blasphemous people that go too far with this, right? And they think they are just like, oh, you think you brought yourself forth, right? You think, but you have to understand he's Lord of Lords, King of Kings, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. The concept is
right.
It's like regent, and that's the best I can think. In modern day terms, it's ambassador. However, ambassador has a slightly different connotation because an ambassador carries the power and authority of the political entity or the state that they represent. So a United States ambassador is carrying the authority of the United States government behind them, right? Whereas in a monarch scenario, so that is where there's a body politic that encompasses the power structure. So, you got the executive, the legislative, the judicial. It's not just one person's authority whatever he says. Right. But in the terms of being, so when you go forth as an ambassador, you're a representative of that entire situation. But when you're a regent, and we can even put this in the same context, being a regent is when the king's full authority himself. So the same way Biden has the ability to do an executive order right now and write things in the law. Obviously, we know that can be repealed by a different executive order, but he can use his executive order to say, this is the law of the land, boom. A regent has that authority, not just he's not representing the state. He's not representing the kingdom. He's representing the king himself. And that is like that age-old mindset when you had the signet ring. See, back then the ring was used to they poured a hot wax, they put the seal of the king on there, and they deliver a letter, and people would know based on the seal that this was an official edict from the king that must be obeyed and taken as law. That's the power we have in the earth. That's the power that's moving and working through all of us. And that's the issue that many, because they're not operating from this mindset, they're looking for God to do something He's already empowered them to do themselves.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I have to interject there. It was only when I started expecting the best, when I started expecting and doing the work and just really just expecting that I would get to my end goal, that things started to happen. And I think that's so important. That's so important what you're saying about, just the whole mindset and just understanding your authority in God, and that God is the all is in the all, like you were saying.
All is in all. All is in all. And that's something that just requires meditation, because as you start there, and that's what's so beautiful about this. When you start from that place, okay, God is in all of us. Cool. All right. And, even when we think about the words of Christ, he's saying, let nobody try to tell you the kingdoms are over here, over there, or whatever. He said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That'll blow you away. So when you walk around with a mindset that every human being, God is in them, then to honor,
you're gonna move different. You're gonna move different.
You move different, because now I can honor the God in you. I can, the imago Dei, made in the image and likeness. I can move with to love my neighbor as I love myself. Now we could even change the words. Love thy neighbor as you love God. Ah! Ah! Love thy neighbor as you love God. That changes the context, because God is in you. So if I'm loving myself, I'm loving myself on the image that I bear. I know I made him his image and likeness. He's in me. He's created me unique. I'm one of one. Therefore, I love myself, and I love you the same way, because I know he's done the same thing in you, doing the same thing in you. And I know when we come together, both with that mindset, both with the true, genuine love for each other, wanting to see each other thrive, right? He said, by this they'll know you're my disciples, by your love one to another. And that's the message I preach, even with everything. Like as we roll out I Am We, the nonprofit, and that's the message. Because and actually it's crazy we're talking about this now, because I was just like, I've been really wrestling, and I think I'm gonna go live tomorrow and just start there. Like, I feel like at this point we have to really come to a spiritual place of agreement as a people to really move forward. Like, we had to be able to just, it doesn't need to be nobody's label, Christian, Muslim, this, that. Who are the people that are ready to just unite and say, I am we? I'm dangerously selfish about when it comes to my brethren. I'm concerned about my brethren, right? Let's just come together on the common understanding that we need love. Let's love each other as we love ourselves. I am we, and come together that. Like, and that's what I'm going to start. That's going to be my message, as you see in the next coming months. Because, especially like June 19th, I'm speaking at the One United Conference and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. How can we tune in to that auspicious occasion that's coming up in June?
I love the vocabulary. Hey, so oneunited.com/one transaction. So if they go there, there's actually some really great information on that page about the 7 different transactions that Black families can do to help close the wealth gap. And so, but that's where they can go and get their ticket. And there's limited seats, so hopefully as many people as possible can get it. It's going to really be a state-of-the-art occasion. Damon John is one of the speakers. I'm really excited about that. Like, just it's an honor.
Sharing a stage with Damon John, that's huge.
Come on,
well deserved.
Right. I'm not fully, it's not, fully processed really, because I know that's not light. That's why I'm even been having these type of different conversations, because I got an hour to talk about Blackout Day 2020, but I really feel like how I'm going to talk about it is, of course, what we did, you know what I'm saying? Or well, it's going to be past, present, future type of thing. So I have to go back and touch on Dr. King and what they did, because that was what was inspired it. And then, of course, what we did with the Blackout Day, but then what is to come, what can we do. And so actually you probably be somebody, like, I've been thinking about putting together a whole, like, a panel. It's gonna be all Black women too, like you, Dr. Liz. I got my good sis Tiffany Kirk out there in Atlanta, and I think in Janice, she writes for Forbes, Dr. Janice. I feel like if I did, and whoever else I could pull in, but I think collectively, just because all of y'all work in different sectors, and just kind of try to put together a presentation that covers it all and really communicates that thing that we just talked about. That the main thing I see at this point is that we're divided just simply loving ourselves and loving our neighbor. So there's nothing we can build without that. We can't build on anything without
right.
that.
I think you're so right, and I think now is really the time for us as Black people to we got to do our work. Yanla has that show Fix My Life, and it's time for us to really stop looking at these white supremacist patriarchal systems and just step back and say, what do we want as a people? Get off that hamster wheel and say, what do we want? And I know when I got off the hamster wheel, I was like, I want the SEO Queen and Lady Z. That's what I saw. And,
Right.
I think a lot of our people will definitely be empowered. And when they get off that hamster wheel, Dr. Devin Robinson, he wrote this book called Blackpreneurship. And he talks about the brain drain that happens in the Black community when so many intellectuals go work for, Fortune 500 companies and don't build knowledge and wealth at the smaller companies. And it's time for us to redefine what success is. We got to do it.
Hey, what do we want?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of this whole American dream, like, that's not even, the wage gap between the wage gap and Jim Crow and, just this whole long history of oppression, over 400 years of it, is like, that's not even something we really need to be even looking at. We need to just throw that all away and start from scratch. What do we want? Ghana just ceased exporting cocoa to Switzerland. This just happened. And the president of Ghana basically said, we're going to take our own resources and manufacture our own products and export those to the world. We're going to monetize our own raw materials. So how are we going to monetize our talents, our intellect, our intellectual property? Because when I think about what has been stolen from Black people, it's more than just labor. It's all the inventions, all the intellectual property. It's like, we got to stop giving it away and letting people steal it from us.
Absolutely. Like you just touched on it, that being able to connect back to the motherland and just the global diaspora. Like, just be concerned with our brother, because like I said earlier, everywhere over the world, we're all in the same condition. We have our handful of athletes and influencers and different things that may have made it out, and they love to point to those people as an example of.
But even our celebrities, like I heard that Missy Elliott, before she got her Adidas endorsement, gave Adidas millions of dollars worth of free promotion before they cut her a check. So it doesn't matter how famous you are. These companies are not coming correct.
Absolutely not. We had to build. But there was that love. There was you even think back, but going back, our women had more pride. They had the afros, the brothers had the fro. Like they've done a number on us.
I still wear my afro. I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, I got my locks. It's a real reality what we're facing, and especially with a lot of different things. Like the last 20 years, FBI put it out that the last 20 years has been a surge of openly they know these people are white supremacists joining the police force in the last 20 years. But when you really just do the math, and I tell people this equation because it just kind of simplifies it. 1960, right? I got a book, 100 Years of Lynchings, and there were still lynchings going on in the 60s. It probably still happened now, to be honest, in the Deep South. But 1960, lynchings were still happening. So let's say somebody was 5 years old, because they did used to bring their children to these lynchings and whatnot. Let's say they saw a lynching, their daddy brought them, maybe their grandpa was there, their mama, whoever, their loved ones who brought them and exposed them to this vitriol at 5 years old. Well, those individuals are retiring right now. They're 65
That's
years old.
reality.
That's reality. They are 65 years old. I'm 31. So let's just say those people had a son by 34. That's realistic. Their son is my age. And guess what? I got a 13-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old about to be 2 next month. So if I was taught that hate from my pops, who's still alive, well and good, 65, and just like me, my grandpa's 94. So imagine, let's just take it. Say I was a white man. My grandpa's 94. He was racist. My dad's 54. Boom, he gets taught it. So I am. And then I'm teaching it to my kids already. That means it's still fresh. It's not nothing that's died. But now it's evolved into a more vicious enemy that can no longer be seen and pointed out openly because it's not, culturally or politically popular anymore. So now they got to be covert with it. Now you working with them and they smiling in your face and calling you a nigga when you leave. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And yet, and still, with all that, that's just the overall.
I just have to say,
mindset.
And people wonder why Black people stay mad.
Right. That's just the mindset, right?
Right. Dealing with this.
We're not
the
even
microaggressions,
we're not even talking about
the gaslighting.
Right. We're not talking about the actual infrastructure that is in place and has been for centuries that allows that same mindset to thrive and stay in power because of alumni, right? Because families are giving endowments to these different universities, right?
And, right, exactly.
I worked for some years. I worked for a while, not for some years, but I was doing tech support for Yale and Georgetown. And when you're doing that, you have to learn like the history of the school. So it blew my mind. You were doing tech support for Yale. I got accepted to Yale, but I didn't go. I went to MIT instead. I was doing tech support, and the tech support that I was doing, it was the faculty when they had issues that's who I was dealing with only, not like the students and stuff. And so, but you have to learn the history of these schools. And so to find out, Yale, that they have like a 92% graduation rate. 90%, over 90% of the children that go there, it's fully paid for by their families. Every year, over $50 million is donated by alumni for scholarships, and that covers the other 10%, that their families didn't pay. You know what I mean? They got a hospital on the campus. Like it's this whole culture. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But it's this whole culture. You can't even get accepted. You have to basically get recommended by an alum. And then when you do when you actually submit your application, the applications are all vetted by alumni. Come on, listen to this. It's other alumni who's already graduated from Yale that are the ones that review the applicants. So when they say it's a whole system, when they say we are a Yale family, you're going to be a Yale man. That's because it's a whole, your daddy was, your grandpa was. So it's already the road is paid for you because you need to go to Yale Law and boom, boom, boom. So now you could be the next DA or the next judge. Like this is a family of judges, or this is a family of lawyers. This is a family of
presidents. Don't forget the Bushes went through Yale too.
Not even the Bushes. People don't know they still in power. Listen, George Prescott Bush. So you had George H. Bush, first the daddy. You had George W. And then now you got George Prescott Bush. He is the land commissioner of Texas right now. And he has been since 2013. Quietly. See, this is the game. They make sure their family.
Wait. You said land commission.
Yes.
You know, people are not playing with us as Black people. So it's important. It's important for you to join. Come to the Reach More Clients Power Conference. Join Martyr's Mastermind. Get that knowledge so that you can take your business to the next level. Because this is not for play. The stakes are real. The stakes are high.
Absolutely. I hear your little man in the background.
Yeah, he said this is not for crazy.
Look, hey, mine just ran up. My little stinky boy just ran up. I think he needed his diaper change. So let me. This has been a powerful segment. This for anybody listening. This is how the masterminds be, man. We really get into some deep stuff. I learn every single week, even when and that's the vibe. That's what it's supposed to be. The collective consciousness. Every single one of us has something we can give and learn from each other. You know, so as long as we stay in that place of humility, we'll continue to grow.
Well, thank you so much, Calvin. And I just want you guys to make sure you go to SEOqueen.com/conference. Make sure you get in the community, go to the Blackout Coalition on Facebook, and just stay connected. Calvin Martyr is a wealth of information, and you definitely want to make sure you stay up on the latest trends in social media and technology so that you can continue to win and grow your business. This is Zhe Scott, the SEO Queen. You've been listening to the SEO Queen Tech Show on Bashani Radio, always talking about everything from New York City. Thank you so much. And until next time.
Peace.